Hi, I'm Megs,
And I'm Jax,
and this is Musing Over Mugs.
where we are fueled by books and chaos.
So join us today as we muse about all things post-Steamy LitCon. Check the show notes in case of spoilers, but there probably won't be any book spoilers in this episode.
Before we get going, though, Meg, I need to know, what's in your mug?
Oh, my mug. I don't have the right mug. I have cereal tea mug.
Damn it, Megan.
Fuck it all.
I was like, there's a 50-50 shot. I was like, is she going to use the one from the conference, or is she going to use the one from Disney? Neither. The answer is neither.
Neither. I have...
but that's fine.
Tazo Passion Tea. What do you have in your mug?
My Disney tea.
Obviously.
It's the Curiouser and Curiouser blend.
So that's not
from the Alice in Wonderland collection.
Is that the blend that you punched me in the neck and...
Nope. I did not punch you in the neck. I stomped my foot and threw a temper tantrum, and I specifically will not drink that until you are present. So, no, this is the lemon ginger one. In the pink box. Purple's off limits.
You can have it. It's fine.
Nope. Nope, that's my own penance for being a brat.
So we are 4 days back from California as of the time we were recording this. It was one of the best trips I've ever been on. It was so much fun. My one ab still hurts from laughing so hard.
I don't think I've ever laughed so hard.
For so long, like every day. We at one point stopped laughing and just started wheezing at each other, which...
Yeah, I think that was right after, I think day 3 of the trip, day 1 of the conference.
Mm-hmm.
Laughter ceased, and it was just like a dry wheeze between us.
Which, so fun. Good for the soul. Good for the spirit.
Good for the soul.
So we got there. I don't know if you want to go into our airport adventures.
I mean, let's just start from the beginning. We'll give you a full recap of all the things we did. Then we'll talk about, we'll include, getting there, getting home, Disney, things outside of the conference, on top of the conference. But so yeah, starting it from the get-go, we got to the airport at 5 a.m.
5 a.m.
God. Because we got the security, you had a TSA pre-check issue, which was solved and took a while, but whatever. We got through security, and as all people do, you make eye contact with your gate and then you go get your coffee. And we had decided to do mobile order because there was a sign that said you could mobile order at the Starbucks. And so we did that. And then we went over to Dunkin' because we got to get Dunkin' because we're Boston folks. There was no sign that said mobile order, but in the app, it listed 2 within our terminal. So we were like,
perfect,
cool.
Great.
Ordered, got out of line, waited off to the side, several minutes go by, and we were like, hey, we have a mobile order. And they were like, we don't do mobile order. And I was like, but it says you do. And they were like, no, that's the one further down. We're like, fine.
Cool.
So we go on a little hike. Now, just to back it up a splash, Meg is still 5 weeks out of surgery at this point. So this was a lot of physical act. I was like, I wanted Megan to park her little booty and not move the entire trip. I just felt very bad. I was very concerned that she was going, your little booty. I was concerned that you were going to overdo it early and then be miserable, having to walk around the conference. So that was a concern I had going into this. Now we are gallivanting through Logan Airport trying to find our fucking Dunkin' order. We get to the next Dunkin' and they were like, nope, that one's not us. It's the next one down. Sir, where is the next one down? Keep walking this way. At this point, we are now in a new terminal. We have passed 3 different airlines and no one had our order. So we just ordered it again.
Also, somebody else in the first line saw us mobile ordering, also mobile ordered, gave up their quest because they were going to miss their flight. So not only did they not get their Dunkin', they quested for nothing.
I did feel bad because I feel like I cost them their coffee, because if they had just waited in line they would have been fine, but no, I was trying to be efficient, and so I will never mobile order from Dunkin' again at an airport. That was a bad call. Starbucks had a sign, it was no problem, we left, came back, it was right there, bada bing bada boom. But
so maybe it's not
the Dunks, that was problematic.
Not doing it at Dunks, but making sure that there's mobile ordering.
I don't know, because that both 2 of the 3 that we went to were listed in the app. And they were like, no, we don't do that. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. The app says you do, and I would like my food.
So we walked about 5,000 steps before we got onto the plane.
Which was great, because then we were seated for 6 hours. So
love getting our steps in the morning.
Nice little workout. Was sweating before. Also, the amount of shit that we brought with us, and I don't know about you, but luggage just doesn't wheel correctly. Like, I feel like once you pack it, it's not wheeling smoothly. And then you add my, I have my weekender bag has a luggage slot, so it, like, fits right on top of my suitcase. Love it. It's amazing. Baze. We're not sponsored, but if you want to sponsor us, by all means. Big fan. It is so hard to wheel that whole thing, like, one-handed while you're carrying stuff. So, like, I have to, like, lean on it. It just was like a project. It was not how I wanted to start my morning.
I feel like we just need to reevaluate the wheels on your luggage, and then perhaps
I need new luggage. I think I'm gonna get. I was looking at maybe getting a new checked bag and what do they call it? Carry-on bags before next year's trip.
Spoiler alert, we're going next year.
We're going back! We had so much fun, we're doing it again. I mean, we haven't bought tickets because tickets are on sale yet, but that is the plan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have a very fun little flight there. Non-eventful. Read a ton. Did eye masks, did the whole plane situation. I didn't sleep. That's probably one of the first times I haven't slept on a flight.
Really?
Yeah, I knock out, and I usually knock out early. I also didn't take any edibles before the flight, which I normally do. So
didn't know that.
I like to not.
You could have.
I like to sleep right through the flight.
I can't sleep on planes unless I am blackout drunk,
which we did not get.
Which we did not drink on this trip, really.
Well, you had a couple of.
I do have a
plane trips.
I have a rule that I will not fly without a mimosa, so I did have a mimosa.
A plain mosa.
But other than that, plain mosa. It's a requirement. Mm-hmm. I don't know when this became a rule for me, but it is.
We're here. We support it.
I don't care if it. I have done a 4 a.m. flight from Boston to New York, and I've had a mimosa. It's a rule. They're like, it's so early. I'm like, I do not care. Nope. Plane time is not real time.
No, airport rules. There are no rules.
There are no rules. It's a lawless land, and you can do whatever the hell you want in there. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. We did eye masks as if it was nothing. Like, and when we say eye masks, we mean like the under eye, not like a sleeping mask.
No, just like the
mid-flight
beauty mask. So we did that. We got to LAX, navigated how to get to the ride share pickup lot, which was an adventure.
More complicated than I would have thought, but we did it. I'm proud of us. Without
the signage wasn't clear. There was a lot of friction in that messaging, which I was not a fan of. But we got there.
Also, the apps were complicated because in my mind, so the first time when we came out of our gate that we saw was rideshare, and in my mind, that's a rideshare app: Uber, Lyft, any of those things, which is what we were doing. So we go over there. We're trying to call the Uber, and then it's like, go to the pickup spot. I'm like, I'm in the pickup spot. Let me, like, it wouldn't let us call the Uber. And like, it took us probably 3 minutes before we realized that there was another place we had to go for ride shares.
We had to get onto a shuttle, which was fine, but I'm used to subway rules. Like, you let people off and then you're crisscrossing, like zippering in to get on. Unfortunately, I couldn't pick up my luggage, so you had to pick up all of the suitcases, which was...
Oh my god, we didn't even talk about security. Speaking of picking up luggage, that was the start.
Rewind.
We'll come back to that after we finish the...
Anyways, you had to pick up all of the suitcases in the shuttle, and then as soon as you got in...
And I got on to pick up and put on, and like then turned around to get Megan's, and then people were just like pushing, trying to get onto the shuttle, and I was like, can you not see the lady who can't pick up her bag? Like, give us a fucking second.
And then some little lady just like cut everybody, and we all had to like help her up, which was just funny to me. And I was like, yeah, it's good. But there was plenty of room, so I don't know why people were rushing.
There was. Because no one likes to wait for things.
No,
but that's fine.
But we got to the hotel, and 40-minute ride, not a big deal. Oh shit, do I not have it in here anymore? Fuck. Anyways, we get to the hotel and they had branded key cards for the rooms. I was going to show it
I've
to
never
you,
been more excited.
but it's apparently not in my wallet, which is concerning because I don't know where the
So in my
fuck it is.
full-time life, I do marketing and branding. So we were checking in and I was like, is that a Steamy LitCon key? And they were like, sure is. It was so cute. So it had the logo on one side and the other side was a book cover, which I thought was the fucking cutest thing in the whole world. And I 100% did not give that key back.
No, I don't think anybody did. I'm pretty sure everybody has it.
I feel like that's a keepsake, right? That's
well, they
part of the
can't like
show now.
reuse it because there's going to be new books, new authors next year, and I don't know if it had the year on it because I can't find it because I thought it was in my wallet and it's clearly not. Not that I'm angry. But either way,
Not that I'm angry.
not that I'm angry. So cute, so lovely. So then we dropped
Adorable.
our stuff off, got changed, went down to the pool.
Yeah, we decided very
Readers.
quickly. I was like, there needs to be some sort of signal, like a bat signal for people who are in the area for the conference so that we can like say hi without being like total creeps. And so, but the problem was that Meg and I had this conversation between ourselves and didn't really tell anybody else about it. And then when we thought we saw someone who looked like a reader, like they'd be reading in the pool, we're like, they're probably here for the conference. We would just kind of look at one another and be like, "Caca!" Which like no one would respond to because why would you? Like I would run in the opposite direction in real life if someone had. I mean, we were doing it to one another and not to like we weren't going up to people in the wild and being like, "Caca!" But yeah, we wanted some sort of bird call. And we did try in the group to be like, should we have some sort of signal? And someone was like,
slyly raise your Kindle.
don't we have name badges? And I was like, but we don't have badges yet. We're so far out from check-in.
Yeah.
But in the end, it was fine.
It was fine. And then we went to dinner at the
Pack and Co.
I was going to say the
Packing
Poorhouse,
Station.
and that's not right.
That's Boston.
That's Boston, and that's not open anymore. R.I.P. Poorhouse.
So yeah, we went to dinner with some friends of ours that are from Boston, but have moved to LA within the last year. So it was really great to see them. Shout out to Greg and Omar. Thanks for coming to get us. So that was a blast. And then we went to bed. Real hard. And then we woke up at 5 a.m. LA time, which is like 8 a.m. our time. So it was fine because we had a date at 7 a.m. with a mouse named Mickey. We had reservations for character brunch with Mickey and friends. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, as a grown-ass adult, that shit does not get old. It was a fucking blast. It's magical still. Like, we sat down and Chip of Chip and Dale was the first one out, and he came like right over to us, and I was just like, yay, like so giddy. And I was like, I realize full-fledged adult, but
not even a child around us.
Nope, not a child between the three of us. It was a blast.
So our friend Amanda joined us.
We met our friend Amanda.
And you knew we were coming because we had the same ears, the same Loungefly bag, the same t-shirt, all wearing black bike shorts. So we looked like a squad.
We were ready to roll. The one thing about us that you should know is that if you're going to travel with us, we will force you into matching t-shirts.
We wore matching t-shirts on the plane.
Yep, we had a matching t-shirt outfit for the plane. We had the Disney shirt. We had matching pajamas, which we had before there was going to be a pajama party at the event. 2 sets of matching pajamas for this trip. I would say we actually had matching pajamas for the hotel room and then also for the pajama party. We had matching shirts for the conference. We ended up wearing matching outfits on the way home. 4. We did, because we got these lovely matching shirts from the conference. But yeah, Disney was unbelievable. We had never... this was my first Disneyland. You're also... Because we got buttons. We got my first Disneyland buttons. Because again, toddlers. Because I want everyone to know it was my first time. It was our first time, and it was amazing. And this was the first time, for the whole trip, but specifically for something like Disney, where I didn't have a plan. We vibed our way through. And we did Disney with the vibe, and that's something I've never done, and it was amazing. So typically, I mean, obviously I know that Disney has changed their system. It used to be like Fast Pass, now it's Genie Plus or whatever. and I don't understand that system, so that probably helped. But typically I'd have like, itinerary of like, all right, we had our breakfast balls AM, then we need to hit like this ride because it's got the longest line, and then blah, 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 blah. We didn't do that at all. We showed up and we're like, we'll go where the vibes take us. We went on things with no lines. We went on things that obviously we wanted to go on, but like just went where we were feeling in the moment. We didn't have any sort of stress, and it was amazing. My therapist was really proud of me.
Oh, good. Amanda lives in California, so she goes to Disneyland. What'd she say, like once every other month or so? So she's been there. She knows the layout and all of the things. So we definitely relied on her a bit to be like, where should we go? What are the better rides and things like that? But even she was like, we're gonna vibe it out. Like we're just gonna kind of wander and see what we see, and if there's anything that we wanted to see, that we definitely could, but she took us on some of her favorite rides, but I was like, I just want to do the teacups. And then there was no line for Dumbo. We did the carousel, and then we did the Fever Dreams at our Winnie the Pooh, Pinocchio,
Snow White,
Little
Mermaid.
That's less of a fever dream.
Less fever dreamy, but same, except it takes up there was a whole part of the movie that they take out in that ride, but whatever.
And then we did Runaway Railroad.
Just a great time.
Which was super
I was
fun.
gonna say, I need to know what your favorite your top favorite ride, and if you can't pick, give me your top two.
I liked Runaway Railroad because the line was so interactive that it didn't really feel like a long wait, but that was probably the longest wait we had for a line. I think that was probably longer than Ride of the Resistance, to be honest.
And it didn't even feel like a wait though, because like you said, it was there was stuff to look at everywhere. It was like you were walking through like an old timey movie theater, so there was like old movie posters, and there was like little scenes set up, so it made it really fun.
Mm-hmm. And then
before you move on though, we have to talk about that ride.
Okay.
Because we had a really special experience, because in our car was a fresh-born baby.
No,
baby's first ride.
But that baby had to be like at least 6 months. Like we saw brand new, like days old babies.
We did see like days old baby, but like this, I mean, he was holding his head up, but he was still pretty young.
This should not have been his first ride. He should have done Small World.
We were like, yay, we're so excited to experience this with you, sir. And we had never been on this ride before, because it's not one they have in Florida. At least I don't think so. So you're on a train, you're on a railroad, right? And then it breaks apart. And it's a trackless ride, which I had never done a trackless ride before. So like that was quite an experience, and it was really incredible. And like the technology really boggles your mind when you think too much about it. But there's a part where you like go you go up to a screen and it looks like you're about to fall off a waterfall, and I was panicking that the ride was gonna drop. Now, again, in my mind, doesn't make a lot of sense. We're not buckled in. So like this
that one at least had a bar.
That had a bar, but I was like, we can't be falling. Like, it's not that secure of like a thing to fall. But I was like, this baby is like, what are we gonna do? Turns out you don't actually. There's no drop in that one.
But it feels like you are. But that was a very fun ride. The baby was not happy, but it's a blast. Roger Rabbit, I don't think was trackless. I think was trackless as well. In the taxi cabs, I think so.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I wasn't paying attention to the track on that one.
Another fever dream ride.
Yes. A lot going on there. I feel like that one might have been tracked.
I feel like it wasn't.
I think just more, whatever. Doesn't matter. That was a crazy one.
This was not a ride, but it's probably one of my favorite moments. We were hanging out in California Adventure, and we had just got off Web Slingers.
I was like, which story is she going to tell?
We had just gotten off Web Slingers. We had met Amanda's cousin, and all of a sudden, Jax sees Spider-Man just walking through, leading a parade. Not like a legit parade, but he was just walking and people on patrol, and people were following him, and Jax takes off.
Didn't even say anything. Just stood up and started sprinting.
Boom. And continues to follow this poor man.
First of all, this poor man, it's his job. Okay, he is Spider-Man. He did have a handler with him, so it wasn't like I was stalking a random person. He was part of the cast. And you know what? That picture is fucking phenomenal. We took like a group shot, as you do, but because all three of us were wearing the same shirt, we made Spider-Man do the pointing meme with us, where they're all like pointing at one another because they're all Spider-Man. And I thought that was fucking clever.
I think it was great, but that so much so that's probably one of my favorite, more favorite. That's one of my most favorite moments of the day. And then you on Soren.
I was gonna say I don't know if Soren or Rise of Resistance was my favorite moment of the day. So for those of you who do not know, I have like a love-hate relationship with rides. I love them, but at some point start to get motion sick. It's like a weird threshold. And we hadn't done anything like crazy, like no big like roller coaster thing, so that usually like escalates. But things like I had never done Soarin'. I hadn't done it in Florida, and this is the first time I had ever done it because I was told it is a giant screen that you're flying through. So like motion sickness immediately comes to mind. So I was like, I've never done it. And Meg and Amanda were like, it's amazing. We got to do it.
I've never done it before, so
hyped it up. Was like, we're going. And we did it. And so we get in the line. And you know, the more you think about something, the scarier it becomes, right? So we're standing in the line. I'm like, I'm starting to get nervous. And people are, you know, the lady that was in front of us was like, are you, like, just kept looking back, being like, chill out, like it's gonna be fine. And like they explain kind of like how the ride's gonna work before you get on the ride, and then I just like progressively was getting more and more anxious, and they open the doors into, it's basically, for those of you who have never seen Soarin' or been on Soarin', it's like 3 rows of seats that like remind me of cargo netting. Like it wasn't like a firm seat, it's kind of like a little dip in there, and you have to sit in it, and then like the ride starts and all 3 rows kind of get lifted up into the air, so you're stacked. Thankfully we were in the middle row. I feel like that's a good spot for your first time because, you know, you're not on the bottom and you're not on the top. And so the first scene is just like clouds over a mountain, and they start to lift us up, and I'm like, I do not like this at all. And I feel like it was so quiet in there, and I felt like it was just me who was narrating the whole ride. And it was hysterical. And in the end, I did love it once I like realized I wasn't gonna hurl everywhere. So you're lifted up, so your like legs are dangling, and then like the camera angles make it feel as if you are flying, and there's like smells that come through, and like I feel like there's a slight breeze, but
and yeah,
I was like, that could have been me panicking. But I just know that I had literal tears in my eyes, and not from crying. Like I think it was from laughing at the end.
Crying.
But I was hysterical, and it was great.
What made it better, we put Jax in the middle of Amanda and I, just so she'd have like, if she needed to grab onto somebody, it wasn't a stranger
on the other side, which I appreciate.
The person on the other side of me had no reaction to this ride, so the dichotomy of the two was just messing with my head, and I loved every second of it.
It was wild. I think that was a highlight, and then Rise of the Resistance was crazy. We lucked out. We had been like checking. That was like the one ride I really wanted to do, and again was nervous of, because I've heard there's screens and motion sickness, but I was like, I feel like I have to. It's like new. I hadn't had the opportunity to do it yet. I love Star Wars, so I was like, let's do it. But then the line was crazy, and we're like, no, we're vibing. We're not going to wait in line for over an hour. Like that's insanity. And then it dropped down to 30 minutes. And so we went, and I'm so glad we did, because it was the last ride we did. We were exhausted. My feet were on fire at that point. We had been there for 15 hours. We were there open to close. And for those of you who haven't experienced this, it's amazing. It's another one where like the line is an experience. You're walking through, and there's like kind of 3 chunks to the ride where you like get in through a gate. There's like a not presentation, but like, you know, you're part of the show, you're part of the conversation. They get whisked into another room to like go on into like the next chunk, and it was crazy. And I understand that the whole premise of the ride was that you were, you know, your pod, I'm a fan, and I can't name any of the things right now, but your team has been intercepted by the dark side, and they are coming, the First Order, and they're coming on to interrogate you to find out where your base is. And everyone's supposed to be like scared that the First Order is there, and I'm like, there is Kylo Ren. Yes.
She's like, I'll tell you whatever you want. So as a non-Star
Wherever you
Wars
wanna
fan,
go.
it was like a very fun ride. You don't need to have known Star Wars or anything about it.
No.
It was just real fun, and we got off and we're like, should we do it again? And we looked, and the wait was like 60 minutes or something
Back over
like
an
that.
hour, which sucked.
So
Because I would have done it again. So there's two different, I'm using air quotes on tracks because it's another trackless ride.
paths,
But
if you will.
paths, there's, because your carts again separate and you can kind of go on different areas. But man, I was nervous when I heard about the ride. Again, screens make me nervous, and then there was a drop, which I hate terror to my core, so I don't like drops like that. And then we were going, and I was like, maybe there isn't a drop. And then there's a part where like very clearly a drop is coming, where you like go into like an elevator looking thing, and then you hear gunk, and it like clicks you in, and Meg just looks at me and goes, I think this is the drop.
But
and it was unbelievable.
This one, like, we didn't get locked
it's very
into
short.
This, but we didn't get locked into it.
The cart, no, the cart itself got locked into the system, but like we only had a lap bar.
Did we have a lap bar for that one?
It was either a lap bar or a buckle. There was, I think it was a buckle, like a seatbelt.
Yeah, it must have been a buckle.
There's something that, but not like an overhead thing. Although I think Tara is just a fucking lap belt too. Now that I think about it, that's real unsafe. I don't like that one at all. I'm traumatized.
But Pirates had, so we've gone to Disney in Florida. Pirates does not have a drop. Pirates of the Caribbean
sure does in California.
It doesn't have a drop in Florida. Does in California. It has two, actually. We were unprepared for both. The first one came, my eyes closed.
The first one is in pitch black, which makes it so much more terrifying. And again, like you can hear the car in front of you go, so we heard yelling, and I was like, that doesn't sound good. And Megan was like, I think there's a drop. And I was like, again, logically, we are not buckled in, so I
not even
cannot
with the
imagine
bar.
that.
Like there was
It's
nothing.
like you're just sitting in a nothing there. And again, newborn babies are going on this ride. So logically, I understand nothing's going to happen. They can't, it's not a death plunge. Experiencing it, full panic. It was like, we are going down. It is dark in here. What the fuck is happening? And then when you think after the fact that there is a full ride in water that is multi-floored, like that's so crazy to me. Like the engineering on it is just, I love Disney.
I liked how you're like, it's so dark. And I was like, I couldn't see anyways. My eyes were closed.
Oh, my eyes were also for sure closed the second we started tipping over that edge. I was like, nope, I'm out.
Don't want to see it.
Bye. Didn't tell you to take your ears off. I was like, we could have lost the ears here. My goodness.
But we didn't. And we survived, and it was amazing. And then we decided that we wanted to do a little shopping before we left because there were some things that we both wanted. And we missed the fireworks. We shopped through the fireworks, but they sounded super fun.
We heard them.
They sounded super
beautiful.
fun. So then we went back to the room where we had grand plans of like doing a foot mask and a face mask and a hair mask, and we immediately just showered and went to bed.
Pass the fuck out.
Yeah.
That was a long day.
I don't think my feet have recovered yet.
I don't think my being, I am still exhausted. I've tested for COVID twice now because I'm like, I'm so tired. I feel totally fine except for I am exhausted. I do not have COVID, by the way, but
same.
Just so tired. And I was like, we went 3 days straight for like a lot of hours. So we woke up the next morning.
What are you doing with your life?
Now you're seated. Get up.
Mm-hmm.
And then started the conference.
And it was amazing.
It was amazing.
Truly.
It was... again, this was our first book conference.
People.
So many people. It was our first book conference. I've done, many a conference, not for books, for, work and life and shit. But of all of those and of all the stories I've heard from other people going to book conferences, this one is so well done. Which is why we'll be going back.
Mm-hmm. There are things that you look for when you go to a conference of, do the staff look like they're having fun? Are the vendors like excited to be there? Are theoretically the people are excited to be there, but there's just are the panel topics of interest, and it like hit check marks on all of them.
Every now.
Everybody was excited to be there. Everybody was friendly. Everybody was just like willing to have a conversation and talk and just get real excited with you. The panel topics, which we'll get into, were really interesting, and I think started really important dialogues and changed the way that I think about some of the books that I pick and read and what I'm going to be doing in the future. And
100%.
And all of that to say that, as you know, we're a few days post conference and some stories are coming out about there were delays in shipment and getting some of the swag bag stuff and different things. You didn't know it in the moment. They were very good about shielding the attendees from all of the stresses of putting on an event of that caliber. And they made it such a fun and happy and inclusive place to be, in my opinion. And to that, like, round of applause to Mel and Cookie and the whole Steamy Lit staff,
Steamy Lit team, and all of their volunteers. Everybody we met was a fucking
top
gem.
notch. Yeah. The swag bags weren't there on the first like check-in days, and so we didn't get them till day one of the conference. Turns out they didn't even get them till like 1 a.m. that morning, and all of the volunteers were up stuffing the bags, so they definitely earned kudos and congratulations and a remarkable job well done for something like that.
It was so good. And coming from an event planning background, I've dealt with those kind of delays, and they handled them with such grace, and the whole conference was just like seamlessly put together. And I know, stories are coming out now about the shipping delays, and apparently there was issues with their event team leading into the conference. You would never know. Mm-hmm. It was so well done, in my opinion.
Yeah. And yes, I have nothing of that caliber to match it to in terms of like being just an attendee at a non-work related conference. But still, like, I think the people that went say a lot about a conference, the people who go to conferences, and everybody that we met was just so lovely.
Everybody, from the authors to the staff to the attendees. Yeah. I can't think of a single negative experience that we had.
Yeah. If anything,
it was amazing.
It was just laughter and joy everywhere.
It was amazing.
I can't wait to go back.
I know. I was so sad that it was like we had to come back to reality. I was like, I just really want to bottle up this feeling and bring it into the real world. Like, it was so, everyone was just so positive and inclusive, and the like especially at the ball, like, I just feel like everyone was just running around being like, you look so pretty, and you look so pretty, and obviously compliments on your beauty are superficial and like not, but it was just so nice, you know, like everyone was just gassing each other up, and it was so lovely to be in that, like, that high of a positive energy field. So,
and are there
I want more of that in real life
that they can do better? Yeah, obviously there's always room for improvement. But for the first year, from starting with a baseline of not having anything to go off of, I thought it was so great. And yeah, there could be spacing issues with the wristband things and lines and so on and so forth, and maybe like a little bit more wider aisles for accessibility. But overall, I was so impressed.
100%. Let's take it from the top. So day one starts off with breakfast, which, again, that was the best conference food I've ever fucking had. The whole day. Like, the whole conference, like, that food was real good. Like, I've been to some conferences where it's like a sad box lunch, and I'm like, I don't want to eat that. No, this was like real good food, both days. So it's breakfast with a panel, keynote discussion on diversity, inclusion, in romance.
And it was a really interesting conversation about it. And that's where 23 for 23 came up, right?
Yes. Yep.
So 23 for 23 is making a um is choosing books with intent and purpose, and actively choosing books written by BIPOC authors featuring BIPOC characters. And the challenge is to read 23 of those books before the end of 2023. And we, as individuals, as the Bookstagram, as the podcast, are so excited to take up this challenge. We picked up books at the conference. We've ordered books from independent bookstores, and we're really excited to find some of our new favorite authors through and new favorite characters through this
For
challenge.
sure. And I think I'm going to apologize now because we did not screenshot the schedule, and the schedule is now down. So I do not have all of the panelists' names. But part of the conversation was about how, while publishing houses are being more aware of representing diverse authors, those diverse authors aren't getting the same return as a white author is. For example, there are no authors of color on the New York Times bestseller, and there hasn't been, I think, since 2021. They said that's crazy. So they wanted us to be cognizant of, what authors are you buying, are you purchasing and putting on your shelves, and which are the ones you're only reading from the library? What are the ones you're only reading in ARC format? What are the ones that you are putting your dollars behind? And so that was really eye opening, because I don't think we are intentionally only buying white authors, but now I am very aware and making conscious decisions of like which books I will be purchasing. And like Meg said, we picked up a ton at the conference, and I've ordered a bunch from Meet Cute Bookshop when we got back.
And
We'll continue to do
challenge,
so.
one of the things that they mentioned was challenging the algorithm. So use Google to search, and if you're only getting served TikToks and Bookstagram reels of white authors, search for the authors or the genre and engage with more of the BIPOC creators or the BIPOC authors, and so on and so forth. So kind of like game the algorithm a little bit, because if you don't, it's going to serve you what it serves everybody, which is what we're trying to change, making like intentional choices and being very, moving the conversation with how we spend our money and how we interact on the digital platforms.
Absolutely. And I think I'm pretty sure, I want to say there was Adriana Herrera who said at the conference, a lot of people use reading as an escape. And if you are a white person who is reading white romance, is that really an escape? Is that escapism, or is that fragility?
Like, are
And
you
that was
scared
like,
to pick something else up? Why haven't you, if you haven't? Kind of asking those questions. And yeah, it was an uncomfortable conversation at times, but I think it was an incredibly important conversation to have, and certainly um, changed a lot of perspectives in the room.
absolutely. Mine, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Same.
That was the opening.
That was the opening. So
And
after
that there's, yeah.
what?
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so we took all of that and we kind of put it in our heads for how we were going to interact and go on the rest of the convention. But we still had 2 more panels to go through that morning.
We did.
And
we kicked it off
with
Queer Joy and Romance,
which,
and it was
so funny.
So fun.
It was funny.
It was just like such a good lineup of authors. They were so funny. The crowd was like very engaged. I loved it.
Mm-hmm. So I think in our last episode we were trying to get into the Some Like It Hot panel that was filled, unsurprising. So we went to the Queer Joy one, and I don't regret it. I don't think I missed anything in the Some Like It Hot one. It was such a great, like, it was so funny. And Emma Wardell was the moderator, and he made a joke about Phil Donahue.
He was so funny.
And I could not stop laughing. He's like, I'm just going to start running through the crowd like Donahue used to do. And I was like, oh, I remember that. So funny, so great. We ended up writing down a ton of books from every panel that we went to. Really excited to pick some of those up. And that was the first panel. And then we stayed in the same room, lucky enough for us, for the Magic of Rom-Coms, which was also a very funny panel. Allie Hazelwood was on that panel, Christina Lauren, or Christina and Lauren, if you didn't know, it's two different people. Who else was on that panel?
Farrah Heron.
So
Morgan
she was
Elizabeth,
great.
Mia Sosa, and it was narrated by Nikki Payne.
Amazing. Look all of those.
I mean, that lineup alone, amazing. But yeah, it was just fun.
Mm-hmm.
They were so cute,
laughing.
I really loved Morgan Elizabeth. I'm new to her work, and I'm so sad that we didn't get over to her table to like chat with her afterwards. We'll get into that when we get to the signing. There's a lot of people there.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely will be looking up her work later.
And so that was a fun panel. Lauren, I believe, from Christina Lauren, made a funny joke that had me laughing still to this day. I think Farrah said something about making it harder for herself. Speaking of like doing something that's, why am I making my work harder for myself? But she phrased it in a way that double entendre. Lauren called it out, and I could not stop laughing because I am a child. And then as we were walking out of the panel,
this was great. So this is what I was gonna say at breakfast, but I was like, no, we're just gonna get into it when we get to the panel. So, as you know, if you listen to the last episode, one of the authors I was most excited to meet was Julie Soto. And so at breakfast, I had gone to the restroom, and as I was walking past all the tables, she was sitting at a table in the back with like Allie and I think Dominic Lim was there, and I think like kind of Forever Publishing. They were just like having breakfast, and so we made eye contact, and I awkwardly like, did the wave, and then continued on my way to the bathroom. Went back to my table. All was hunky-dory. We're leaving the panel, and she was in the back of the panel, and Meg, like, we saw her, and Meg was like, go say hi. And I was like, I'm not going to say hi to her. I don't want to interrupt. Like, it's not signing time. Like, I didn't want to, approach her in the wild. I felt very bad about, like, interrupting time or, like, fangirling too hard. And so as we're, like, about to pass her, exiting the door, she looks at us and goes, are you going to pretend that you don't see me again? And I was like, that's amazing. Yes, I was. So lovely to meet you.
It was the best thing anybody could ever do to Jax. Publicly shame her.
I was publicly shame me for ignoring you. It was amazing. She called me out on my bullshit, and she gave me a hug, and that was everything I needed in life.
We could have gone home right then. It would have been the best.
That was it. That was all I wanted
thing
from the trip. Was just a hug from Julie Soto.
I immediately text Jax's husband, and I was like, Julie Soto just called Jax out, like, in public. And he was like, this is amazing. And then I got a photo of Jax. She's literally floating out of the room. So I took a photo. I was like, this is the afterglow. That was it.
It was
like,
great.
That's all.
It was a high.
That was the whole trip. Done and dusted. Went home. Just kidding.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Julie. It was lovely to meet you. So yeah, then it was lunch.
Yep, but we did not eat lunch. We decided to go to the room.
We ate lunch. But yeah, we went to the room. We got our like author gift bags. Packed our tote because we hadn't done. We were gonna do that the night before, but Disney wiped us out. So we did that and then got lunch. And then got in line for the signing.
So the first person we got in line for was
Allie.
I got Eden O'Neill first.
You did.
Yeah, she didn't have a line. I'd read a book by her that I enjoyed. It wasn't my favorite book, but I do have her newer stuff on my list. So, I just got a text from my husband. Are you still recording? We're not even through day one. Oh, your husband's in the background.
Oh. Again, you with the laser eyes. She can tell me. So my window here is set back from the curb by a lot of feet. And she can tell, I mean, this is looking really crisp right now. But usually we're on like FaceTime, co-working. And she's like, your mail is here. And I'm like, I can't even see the mailbox.
It's fine. Anyways, I went to Eden O'Neill's table first. She didn't have a line, and I definitely wanted to get stuff signed by her. So got that signed, got a selfie, and then we were in line for Allie. And did you run out and get wristbands for
Not
other
that
folks?
point.
Okay, so we did Allie, and then we got wristbands.
Oh, I did a couple. I got
You got
people
Julie.
that were in that room.
So there was two different
Then we
rooms
got a wristband for Julie. Yeah.
for the signings. There was like the smaller room, and then there was the bigger room. The authors, there was probably, I think they said like 200 authors or so between the two rooms. So pretty even, like pretty well spread out between the two. But for some of the bigger name authors, you had to get a wristband just to keep crowd control so lines weren't getting crazy, and also gave you an opportunity to go get other things signed by other authors without like losing your space in line. So we ended up getting roughly
She's got her wristbands
this many wristbands. I put them on my lanyard because I didn't want them on my wrist, because I had friendship bracelets on my wrist, as you do.
As you do.
So we got Allie and Julie in that first round, and a whole bunch more.
Yeah, we did. We got, I wish I counted the sign, how many authors we met in the end. Not nearly close to everybody.
Mm-mm.
Like, we were running through the list before we started recording, and I was like, there's a whole bunch of people that we did not get to meet, and hopefully they'll be back next year so we can chat with them then. But we met everybody that we like had on our list that we had things to sign, and then got to meet a whole bunch of new incredible authors that we're really excited about.
And we got to give some authors their very first friendship bracelets,
which was exciting, thrilling. We got to give Christina Lauren, I don't know which one of them's daughter was assisting, and we gave her a friendship bracelet, and she was the sweetest thing.
She gave me a hug. She was like, anytime.
Loved her.
So we were doing a reel, which has already been posted. We actually had to do 2 reels because we got so many people to do it, where Jax made the heart sunglasses that you might have seen going around like the Taylor Swift tours. We put Books in Chaos. Jax put Books in Chaos and some rhinestones on it, and we made Jax made a couple of reels with everyone, and anyone who took a photo, we gave a friendship bracelet to, and they're now my best friend forever.
That they are, and I think we followed almost all of them, if not all of them. I feel like I'll have to double check them all, but it was a really fun way to meet people. I'm, again, the most socially awkward human, and didn't lead with like, we have a podcast, we're making this reel for our podcast. I was just like, I would just hold up the sunglasses and was like, hey, we're doing a reel where people put these on and we take your picture. You want to be in it? And there were definitely a couple people that were like, no. But
you say you're the most
104 said yes. So yay us.
You say you're the most awkward, but I'm the one who high-fived you at Disney when someone's like, are you going to Steamy Lit? And we're like, yeah. They weren't even 2 feet away from us.
And they hadn't even turned around yet. And we were like, yes! We were giving off the right vibes.
So yeah, this is why we work so well together.
It's who we are as people, and it's fine. I did buy a pin for my lanyard the second day that said socially awkward, because it's fine. It is what it is. It was a blast.
It was a blast. So we did the signing. We met a bunch of people. I had the bag, the Hulkin bag. I was rolling that around while Jax carried her giant piece of acrylic. Has that come to your house yet?
Not yet, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not confident on where the receipt went for the tracking. Cool. I'm going to look for that. I mean, I feel like it wasn't supposed to be here yet. I feel like it was going to take...
I think it's Monday.
Yeah, I wanted to say like the 29th or something, so...
Okay. Well, Jax had her
It will
giant
come.
piece of acrylic, and it actually got us in line to Christina Lauren a day early. We were supposed to see them day 2 and we got in day 1. Turns out, after 3 hours of signing, people get real tired and tend to like go back to their rooms. So all of these authors who had such crazy lines at the very beginning of the signing block had no lines towards the end of the signing block. So
Which was lovely.
Keeping that in my back pocket for next year.
That allowed us to meet so many more fun authors that we hadn't had the opportunity to read ahead of the conference. So it was really exciting to chat with some of those new folks, grab their books. But I went into this. Megs and I had made the decision that we weren't bringing books. The only books I had brought with me was the auction, which I learned to bind fan fiction so that Julie Soto could sign this sucker. And because it was so massive, I was like, I'm not bringing anything else. I did also bring 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston because my family had borrowed it and they weren't done with it yet. And so ordered a second copy so that I could bring it to get signed. So I did bring that one. So I had 2 books. That was it. We made the decision. We weren't bringing books. We were only having them sign. We had the tote bag and we had the acrylic that we were having people sign. I walked out of there with 20 books.
You counted them?
Mm-hmm. Actually, it was technically 19.
To be fair,
and I was upset that it wasn't 20.
3 books were in our
3
swag.
did come from the conference.
Yeah.
Yes, 3 were. But I still bought way more books than I intended to. But that's fine. They were all lovely humans that we got to chat with. I'm very excited to read them. Some of them, they're on my bar card, so I'm like looking off camera to see. Millie Perez, You Never Forget Your First, very excited about. Addie Woolridge. Wow, I'm so sorry. Addie Woolridge. Why is that so hard for me to say right now? Anyways, we got 2 books by her. The Bounce Back and the Checklist, and I'm really excited about those. She was the sweetest. I was really excited to meet her.
Her audiobooks were on CD.
What?
She was the one with the audiobooks on CD. She's like, my publisher sends it to me.
I thought you said TV,
no, CD.
And I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
No, she said her publisher, I think, sends her the audiobooks, but instead of just sending her like an MP3 file, sends her like a CD. She's like, I have no way to play this, so
they're very cute.
Cool. It was very fun.
They were pretty.
I gave her an idea. I said, listen, I live across the street from a school. In the wintertime, they do this with their CDs. It's just an option. But she was lovely, very fun. Everybody there was wonderful. We didn't meet
blast.
Anybody.
There was no one negative there. Everyone was a fucking gem.
The vibes were immaculate.
The vibes were vibing. Kimberly Lemming, which I'm so excited about. The book is called That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon, followed by That Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf. I'm sorry. What? I cannot wait to read those.
Sign me
sound like a
the fuck
blast.
up. Yeah. No,
I cannot wait. That's going to be amazing. We got to meet Marie Maravilla. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right.
You better. So she's our new best friend.
She's our new best friend. So on Instagram, people were obviously leading up to the conference posting about their friendship bracelets, and she had posted, and then Steamy reposted that was like, listen, if anybody's making friendship bracelets, please, for the love of God, make me a spit in my mouth bracelet. And I said, say less, I'm on it. So we had messaged with her. We're like, we got you. We will bring it. Don't you worry. And so then we got to meet her, gave her bracelet, which was fun. We gave her a tote bag. And the next day she was using the tote bag, which was like super exciting. Where I was like, they didn't throw the swag away. But she was also just like the sweetest fucking thing and like so nice. And we bought her series. And again, in my mind, I was like, if I buy books, I'm only buying the first book, right? Because if I love it, I'll buy book 2 later. And then I was like, no, you need the special editions for both books. And she's amazing. So we're going to support her. And it's there. And I did. And I can't wait to read them. I'm a little bit terrified because they are on the darker side, which I do love dark romance. But some of the things we'll get into the panel in a second that her and Santana were discussing. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. But I'm gonna put on my big girl pants and we're going to do it. Maybe we should buddy read that one. No, because I'm going to give you the book, so we can't buddy read it.
It's okay. We'll figure it out. That's okay.
So we'll read them back to back or something.
Okay, so the end of day 1, it's like 5:30. We go back to our room. This is where we stop having words and laughter, and this is where we start wheezing at each other. we decide then that we're going to go downstairs, get pizza from the restaurant, and then go back upstairs and do like the face masks and watch our own movie, because there was a movie night. They were doing red, white, and royal blue, like as the event. So there was couches and popcorn and all this stuff. We decided
Was adorable. We did stop by.
Was adorable. We had already seen the movie the week before, so it wasn't like we were gonna miss the movie.
And at that point, we were peopled out.
We were so peopled that we couldn't have words anymore. So
we are what did we decide it was? High functioning introverts. Like our batteries are not charged by being around other people. We needed quiet time. That was a lot of peopling, a lot of hours of peopling, especially on top of Disney the day before. Like, it was just a lot. So we were like, nope, we're gonna have our own movie night. Megs had never seen She's the Man, so I was like, we're watching She's the Man. That's it. But when Meg says we decided we were gonna get pizza from the restaurant downstairs and bring it upstairs, what she means to say is that we decided this 100 times over. We had the same conversation for an hour and a half, being like, all right, get it together, team. We're gonna go downstairs. We're gonna get the pizza. We're going to bring it upstairs. We're going to put our little masks on. And we're going to eat and watch She's the Man. And then we would just cackle at one another for no apparent reason. And then do it again for an hour and a half.
Eventually,
we did do it.
We went downstairs. As we were going downstairs, we saw people walking back to the elevator with popcorn and cotton candy. And we're like, are you just taking that to go back to your room? And they're like, the fuck yeah, we are. So we're like, we're also going to do that. So we went, we got our pizza. We met some more fun people in line. And then we went, after we got our pizza, and grabbed the popcorn and the cotton candy. And we went back to our room, put on our matching PJs that we had for the pajama party. But now we're just having our own pajama party. Did face mask watch the movie? At one point, I looked over. Jax is staring at me watching the movie.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time. So I just needed to ensure that you were appreciating it in its fullness.
Did I?
And you were.
Okay.
I think you seemed to like it. You quoted it the next day, which is what I needed from you. So
I'm so happy to get
it's amazing. I am now allergic to the sun. So I get to use that now.
Congratulations.
I'm so pleased. So that was day one.
That was day one.
Oh, we didn't talk about the
Are you talking about the light
as
thing?
we were leaving? Yes. So we get our popcorn, we get our cotton candy, we're leaving, and there are two people taking photos in front of the big marquee sign that said Steamy Lit. And I was like, would you like me to take a photo of the two of you? And they looked at us, looked at each other, and just started cackling. And I'm like, I'm so glad that we are all at the same point. Like, no one can form words anymore. And they were like, yes, please take the photo. So I take their phone, and they take their jean jacket and put it behind the sign so that it was out of the shot, turned all the marquee lights off. And then no one could figure out how to get back on. We were like, shit, we broke the thing.
All it said was
eventually
my lit. STEA. Completely off.
We got it back.
We did. Dimmer. It was considerably dimmer when it turned back on. But I think that was the lights had to warm up again because the next day it was fine. But yeah, we were all in that like wheezing, laughing situation. And it was glorious.
It was great.
It was great.
And that was the end of day one. Then we went back upstairs and had our movie night.